Rain poured softly that morning, soaking the black umbrellas that surrounded Judith Anderson's grave. The billionaire philanthropist, known across the world for her empire and elegance, was being laid to rest in a golden casket that glistened even under the gloomy sky. Her husband, Williams, stood near the coffin, face carved in stone. Beside him, Dr. David, her longtime family doctor, whispered condolences. The priest's voice trembled through the air. From dust we came, to dust we shall return. But as the final prayer ended, a voice cracked through the silence. Don't bury her, heads turned. A ragged man, soaked and shivering, pushed through the crowd. His beard was gray, his eyes wild with conviction. It was Benjamin, a homeless man who often lingered by the city park. Don't bury her, he shouted again. She's not dead. The guests gasped. Williams scowled. Get this madman out of here. But Benjamin stood firm. You poisoned her with a drug that slows the heart. She's alive. I can prove it. The priest hesitated. Something in Benjamin's tone felt true. Against all reason, the police at the scene allowed him a moment. Benjamin knelt by the coffin, opened it with trembling hands, and pulled out a small vial. He whispered a prayer and injected Judith with the antidote he'd created long ago, a neutralizer for a rare tox, and he once studied as a medic before life broke him. Moments passed, then Judith's fingers twitched, her eyelids fluttered. A collective scream rose from the crowd as she drew a faint, rasping breath. She's alive, the priest whispered, dropping his Bible. Panic spread. Williams lunged forward, pulling another syringe from his pocket. But Benjamin caught his wrist, shouting, You won't kill her again. Police officers grabbed Williams as Judith opened her eyes, weak but alive, looking into Benjamin's tearful face. Who are you? She whispered. Someone, Benjamin said softly, who refused to let truth die. That day, the world learned two things. Judith Anderson had returned from the edge of death, and the man who saved her was a stranger no one expected. The courtroom overflowed with tension. Cameras flashed as Williams and Dr. David sat in the dock, their faces pale under the harsh lights. Judith, dressed in white, walked in like a vision of strength resurrected. She took the stand. The crowd hushed. Mr. Williams, the prosecutor began, did you love your wife? Williams smirked faintly. I loved her money. Gasps filled the room. Judith closed her eyes, fighting tears. Evidence unfolded like thunder. Bank transfers, secret meetings, the poison obtained through Dr. David's connections, every detail screamed betrayal. Benjamin, seated behind Judith, clenched his fists, both furious and heartbroken. When it was his turn to testify, he spoke with calm dignity. I was homeless. I slept near her mansion gates, but I noticed the doctor visiting at strange hours. I followed him, saw the syringes, heard the argument. I couldn't stop it then, but I swore I'd not let her die. The jury leaned in spellbound. By the third week, the verdict came, **, guilty on all counts. **, life imprisonment for both conspirators. Judith wept, not for justice served, but for the years she'd lived beside a man who wanted her gone. After the trial, she approached Benjamin outside the courthouse. You've given me back my life, she said. How can I ever repay you? Benjamin smiled faintly. By living it. Weeks later, Judith invited Benjamin to her estate. For the first time in years, he slept in a warm bed. She discovered that he wasn't always homeless. He had once been a top software engineer, a husband, a father, until betrayal and loss drove him to despair. Judith saw beyond his worn clothes. She saw brilliance dimmed by pain. She offered him a position at her company, Anderson Holdings. Though hesitant, Benjamin accepted. Slowly, his sharp mind began to shine again. He developed innovative systems that revived the company's profits, and soon everyone began calling him *, the miracle advisor. *, together, Judith and Benjamin rebuilt more than just a business. They rebuilt their lives. Late one evening, under the soft glow of chandeliers, Judith said quietly, You saved me once, Benjamin, but in truth, you're saving me every day, teaching me to live again. Benjamin smiled. We both rose from graves. Judith, yours was gold, mine was cardboard, but grace lifted us both. Over time, something unspoken bloomed in Judith's heart. She admired Benjamin, his humility, his wisdom, the quiet strength in his eyes, but fate had other plans. Benjamin met Juliana, a kind woman who saw the man behind the scars. Their friendship turned to love. One day, Benjamin nervously told Judith, "I've found someone, I want to marry her." Judith's heart sank, but she smiled bravely. "Then let me plan your wedding," she said. The ceremony was beautiful. Judith stood beside them, radiant in grace, as they exchanged vows. Later, she met George, a widowed businessman, who reminded her that love could still bloom, even after pain. Both couples began new lives filled with laughter and peace. Judith and Benjamin became godparents to each other's children, their bond eternal, forged not by romance, but by destiny. 10 years passed. Judith's mansion was now a haven for orphans and widows. Benjamin managed her charity foundation, and their friendship had become a symbol of hope across the nation. One morning, a letter arrived from prison. It was from Williams. Asterisk, "I wronged you, Judith. I am sorry. I have nothing left but remorse." Asterisk, Judith stared at the letter for a long time, then whispered, "I forgive you." That evening, she went live on television and said, "Forgiveness is not weakness. It is freedom. When we forgive, we break the chains that pain built around us." Her words touched millions. Williams was released soon after, an old, broken man who spent his final days quietly working at a church library. As the sun set one evening, Judith and Benjamin sat on a hill, watching their children play. "From graves to gardens," Benjamin said softly, "and from ashes," Judith replied, smiling. To Dawn, if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Tell us, asterisk, what part of this story touched your heart the most.